Here we have the ASUS Vivobook 17-inch model M712D. It's ASUS's 17.3-inch full high definition sort of business notebook. It goes along pretty much the same formula as most of ASUS's Vivobooks, and today we're going to find out if that's any good. So for starters, this notebook can be bought for $589 as optioned here, but it starts at $549 for a 3250U AMD processor, 12 gigabytes of RAM, and a 256 gigabyte NVMe solid state drive. You can of course have more RAM, add a better graphics card, more solid state storage, pretty much whatever you want. These things come customizable across the board. Now the whole selling point behind this ASUS Vivobook 17 inch is that it's supposed to be sort of a nice lightweight 17-inch computer, 17.3-inch full high definition non-touch screen, and its biggest competitors are going to be things like the Dell Inspiron 17-inch, some of the bigger Lenovo IdeaPads, and comparatively I do think that it holds its own pretty well. Now as far as features are concerned, this thing comes with an 802.11 AC Wi-Fi card, it comes with Bluetooth, and it comes with a fairly decent webcam. And here's some footage of what the webcam looks like now. This is a test of the webcam on the ASUS Vivobook 17-inch. As you can see, it's pretty decent. And the little dual array microphone here at the top also is pretty decent as well. Certainly if you're using Zoom, Skype, any of these work from home video chat options, it's going to be very, very good for that. Now, as far as the sort of overall quality of the ASUS Vivobook, it's not made of any kind of special materials like zinc, ion, aluminum, metals, anything carbon fiber, or anything crazy like that. It's just basically plastics, and it does kind of look a little bit on the cheaper side with this sort of textured plastic, but it is good plastic. It does last a while. It takes a beating. It's not really going to patina, but it's not going to fall apart on you either. So if you're like a student or a business person that just sort of abuses their machine and throws it into a bag, I think it's going to do just fine. Another sort of perk of the ASUS Vivobook is that it has this sort of ergo hinge thing. So when you open it up, it sort of like props itself up to make typing on it a little bit more comfortable. Now let's go ahead and dive into using the ASUS Vivobook 17. And the keyboard is going to be where we will start. So the keyboard is a full size and it is very tactile, and the keys aren't like too shaky, maybe just a little bit, but it's probably about an 8 out of 10 as far as usability. You're not going to make a lot of typos. It feels crisp and good, and you're going to be able to type on it very, very fast. But where there's a bit of a deal breaker in my opinion is that there's no backlight, and okay, fine, for a $550 laptop you're not getting a backlight in it, but what they chose to do was use silver keys, which are already fucking stupid, but then they chose to use sort of a darker gray writing on the keys themselves. Now, in the right light, or maybe the wrong light, you can't even see the keys, and that is really going to annoy some people. Now, usually in the Dells and the Lenovos that have silver keys, one of the ways to kind of save that was you turn on the backlight and then you can just sort of see the keys no problem at all, but this one doesn't have a backlight, so there's no saving it. If you're working under direct light, it is going to be very difficult for you to see the keys. So this may not be a big deal for people that can type without looking and just don't need to or give a shit about the keys, but the point is it's something that you should know. The keys are hard to see. The trackpad is also pretty small and it doesn't come with a fingerprint reader or a Windows Hello camera like some of its more expensive counterparts do. And the trackpad is okay. It's one of the better ones that ASUS has used in their Vivobook series, but it does ghost a little bit, basically meaning that when you slide it around, it's kind of like the mouse cursor is on ice. It's not too bad, but I'd probably rate it sort of a 6.5, maybe a 7. Probably closer to like a 6.5 out of 10. I do like the way that the keyboard is sort of shaped and feels. And again, accountants are probably going to love the full-size keyboard with the numpad at the end there. And looking at the screen, again, it's a full high definition 17.3-inch non-touch screen, and it's matte, so you'll be able to work under sort of like brightly lit lights or in front of a window outside on a college campus, this kind of thing. It does handle glare pretty well, and it gets pretty reasonably bright as well. If I had to ballpark, maybe somewhere around like the 400 nit range, something around there. And colors are okay. It's a little bit like muddled as far as clarity is concerned, so even though it's an FHD screen, they sort of dialed the sharpness in just a little bit too much. There are ways that you can calibrate these ASUS Vivobook screens, but really at the end of the day, ASUS should just probably put a little bit of a better panel in them. Not a deal breaker as far as the panel is concerned. It's certainly better than the low resolution counterparts that HP uses. One sort of surprising thing that I did find nice about this ASUS Vivobook are the speakers are pretty damn good. They get pretty reasonably loud. There's not a huge amount of distortion. It's got the little sort of subwoofer things at the bottom. Overall, you're not gonna get like a huge amount of bass, but you will get some pretty decent treble, and it's not gonna like crack out on you and sound all janky. The speakers are surprisingly very, very good. They're better than a lot of the other speakers that not just ASUS is using, but Acer, Dell, Lenovo. They're some of the better ones that I've heard on a 17-inch machine. Now, how does this 17-inch computer compare to either the Dell Lenovo or, for that matter, the LG Gram? Well, I think that this is sort of a lighter weight package than the Dell or Lenovo notebooks. If I was buying one, a 17-inch machine, I'd probably get the LG Gram, but it's also not in the same price bracket as the LG Gram. For example, an LG Gram is like about a $1,000 to $1,200 computer entry level, whereas this is starting at about $550, so it's not really a fair comparison. I think that this ASUS Vivobook is a better option to go with than some of the Dell or Lenovo's if you're sitting in the sort of $500 to $600 price range. It just sort of feels a little bit better than those machines. But that said, there are some things that people need to know about, namely that the keyboard is almost impossible to see and that the trackpad can be a little bit touchy at times. But this computer is fast and it's nice and it's fairly well built. Let's talk input and output on the ASUS Vivobook 17 because it's pretty decent. It has, on this side, we've got two regular USBs and of course my favorite Kensington lock. And then on this side, we have where you plug it in because it doesn't run on solar energy. It has a USB Super Speed, it has an HDMI port, and then it has USB-C port, which was a nice addition for ASUS to pop on there. Dual microphone headphone jack, and then this tiny little dinky camera card reader, which can really only read micro SD cards. So moral of the story is that the input output on this thing is probably decent enough for most people in an office environment, students, productivity, this kind of thing. So who is this computer for? Well, I think that this computer could benefit probably like, entry-level accountants, people doing a lot of data entry, people doing productivity work, nonprofits, looking for that sort of big screen real estate, but not wanting to break the bank. I think it would probably be pretty good for students, although I don't see why a student wouldn't probably prefer something a little bit smaller. As far as 17-inch machines are concerned, it is definitely one of the thinner and lighter weight ones out there. But who is this computer not for? I don't think this computer is going to be for Photoshop editors. I don't think it's going to be for heavy gamers either. You could probably play some Minecraft or some slightly less powerful games on here, but it's definitely not a gaming laptop by any means. And it's definitely not going to be for people that do any kind of heavy video editing either. You could probably do some small 1080p video editing in a pinch, but this is maybe for somebody that's looking for just sort of an all-around business laptop that's just going to sit on a desk. Battery life on this thing is only about 3.5 hours, maybe 4 if you're lucky. So that's not really that good for a traveler either, unless you can remain plugged in at all times. So is this the worst notebook that you can buy? By no means. I think it's exactly what it's worth. It's a $550 laptop. If you're looking for a $550 17-inch machine, this one is probably perfect for you. It's not a bad machine at all. Again, there are just some shortcomings that people need to be aware about. Anyway, so would I recommend this computer? Yes, I think I would, if you're looking for a $550 17-inch machine. I hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe, because if you don't, then domestic terrorists are gonna kill my entire family. We'll be back with another video really soon.